So this is the video going over the Chapter 6 free response, like original free response question, so you can see what went wrong. Okay, so on question 1, they gave you information about toilet paper, and they gave you this chart, and you needed to find the mean and the standard deviation. So there was no work to be shown here because it's really just using technology to find it for you. So if you were to, probably most of you did it on your TI-84 calculator. You would go stat calc 1var stats, and then you'd put in L1, L2. I think you'd say list would be L1 and frequency would be L2. By the way, these numbers are going in L1, the toilet paper numbers, and then the probabilities of those toilet paper numbers is L2. And then it would spit out the answer. If you did calculate, it would say X bar is 2, and it would say standard deviation of X is 1. So these are your numbers. And if you didn't use a TI-84 calculator, you also could use Staplet.com, and you would go to the discrete random variable one and just plug your numbers in there, and it would give you the information that way. Okay, so for number 2, now they are giving you information about hand sanitizer. So you know toilet paper. So maybe actually, I'll write this in here. So toilet paper from the last problem, we know the mean is 1 and the standard deviation is, nope, other way around. Mean is 2 and standard deviation is 1. Okay, and now they're also telling you about hand sanitizer, that the mean is 1.5 and the standard deviation is 0.7. So they're just giving that to you. And now they want to know the total number of items. So a theme always is that means are intuitive. So just follow your gut on means and you will probably be right. It's standard deviations that get messy and unintuitive. Okay, so for the mean of toilet paper plus hand sanitizer, you just add your means. 2 plus 1.5 gives you 3.5 items as your average. Now, standard deviations you cannot add directly. You have to add the variances instead. You have to square the standard deviations, then add, then square root to get it back to the standard deviation. So standard deviation of toilet paper plus hand sanitizer needs to be the standard deviation toilet paper squared plus standard deviation of hand sanitizer squared, and then square root that. So what is that? You get 1 squared plus 0.7 squared, and I believe that ends up being 1.22 is your standard deviation there. Okay. So then for our last one, it starts to get a little complicated. So just to help us keep track of our numbers here, I'm going to remind ourselves toilet paper was 2 and 1. Hand sanitizer was, I already forgot, 1.5 and 0.7. And then we also now know the cost of these. So the cost of a thing of toilet paper is $14, and the cost of the hand sanitizer is $8. Okay, so that's our information we know. And we want to know the total amount spent per purchase. So we're looking at dollars now, rather than number of items. Okay, means are intuitive. So if you can imagine if you got 2 things of toilet paper, the mean, that would be a total of $8, right? $4 times 2 gives you $8 you spend to get an average amount of toilet paper. And, 14, not 4. Oh, goodness gracious. So this is $28 for toilet paper. Okay, and then hand sanitizer is $8, and on average you're buying 1.5 bottles. So 8 times 1.5 is 12. So you're spending $12 for hand sanitizer. So 28 plus 12 gives you a total of $40 spent on average. So your mean is $40. Okay, so now standard deviation, this is where it gets funky. You can't add them directly. You have to square and then square root. So standard deviation, we have to translate number of items into cost first. So we're dealing with everything in dollars. We're finding the standard deviation in dollars now, not in number of items. So again, $14 times a standard deviation of 1. So for toilet paper, a standard deviation is $14. For hand sanitizer, $8 times a standard deviation of 0.7. 8 times 0.7 is $5.60 for hand sanitizer. We cannot add those directly. We have to square them and add and then square root. So square root of 14 squared plus 5.6 squared, which if you get that, it should in the end be 15.08. Okay, that's it.